I'm just going to point back to old fear-mongering Neal here. 2008, they were giving out mortgages in the States.
The ninja mortgages.
Yeah. People weren't truly approved for those things, and they were just approving everybody.
What was it? No income?
No income, no job or assets.
Oh, I thought it was no income, no job approved.
No,
but like that's kind of what they were doing.
Both works.
Yeah.
So now we're doing ninja mortgages in Canada. We're not doing them on purpose. Yeah. Wow, someone's doing them on purpose. But there's a lot of it going on underneath the table that is slightly concerning. Again, just going to go ahead and keep throwing out my points.
I mean, here, like,
my case.
it's not as big of a deal in Atlantic Canada.
No.
I think it partially has to do with prices and population. Like, people are way more desperate to buy a house in Ontario.
That's true.
Because it's unattainable, I guess, otherwise, or so they feel. So they go to these crazy extreme lengths, whereas here, people don't jump to that.
3 years ago, I had never heard of it like going on at all. I will say this year, I've had multiple clients ask and make the offer. Clients be like, I can offer you this much money if you can get me in. And I'm like, I don't write mortgages, but
I'll take your money. I mean, that's not to say there was never any issues here, because I know for a while there was stuff, but that was more to do with really aggressive
appraisals.
Appraisals, aggressive takebacks, cash back on closing, and all this stuff, which you still hear about, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I mean, we don't have time to delve into all of these things. As usual, we've kind of gone long here.
Yeah.
But the VTB market is one of the things that's better about commercial financing, is you can get into those things above board where the vendor holds the second mortgage. And we talked a little bit about that before.
Yeah.
But it makes a big difference. What are you seeing? Like, what's the most aggressive, though, that a lender is going to do with a vendor takeback?
I mean, it depends. Like, typically, the rule of thumb, and obviously there's exceptions to this, that they want you to have some skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
But it also depends on the lender. So are we talking about a bank, or are we talking about a private lender?
Well, that's the thing. If you want Neal's double-digit interest
Sure.
rates, like, you can get over it. Like, I'm just
but that it's
Shots
fair though.
fired.
So like if you're going to go to a bank, they're going to be okay with a VTB. VTB is a vendor takeback, where the seller holds a second mortgage on top of the bank's mortgage.
Yeah.
And you can get creative with those too. Like, for example, so part of the reason the bank wants to know about it is because A, they want to know what are you contributing, but B, they want to know the repayment terms. So if there's a payment which there
associated
would be,
with
right,
the VTB,
well, then that impacts the cash flow in the building, which then impacts how much money the bank might be willing to lend you for their primary mortgage.
Yeah.
But can you get creative with a VTB where the interest accrues? So
Right.
then there is no payment.
Right.
Now, most of the time, the seller's going to want a payment, but just it's a thought. So like, you can just get more creative with it, and so the more, like, the stronger the picture, the more the cash flow, the more a bank will want to see, the more the bank will be willing to allow for a VTB.
Yeah.
But they're still going to want to see something from you, right?
Yeah.
and this is the other thing about commercial.
And usually, like, just before you get into like asking for like a special thing, it's usually like matched, right? So if the VTB's 10 or 15, they want you to have 10 or 15.
Yeah.
You always have to have skin in the game. You can't just do 100%.
Unless you get into then private financing. So if you can arrange a scenario where a private lender who will do like things in a lot more flexible ways, they just go on like that makes sense kind of basis.
That's a conversation topic at that point. There's no longer, let's say, a set rules.
Yeah, there's no criteria.
It's if you can sell the pitch,
Then you're pitching a product.
you're in. But then you're also, your pitch is returned with like a 10+% interest rate.
Yeah, it's expensive. But if it accomplishes the greater goal, then that's okay.
Yeah, and people have to. This is why commercial financing has the fees. Like, I find a lot of mortgage brokers, the same as like agents when they're representing buyers, they run around there saying like, and you don't have to pay me a dime.
Right.
The seller pays me, or the bank pays me, or like I don't get paid until you're blah blah. With commercial financing, you're paying a fee.
Yeah.
Because putting these things together is a nightmare in a lot of cases. And it is in the pitch, it is in the presentation, the packaging, and there's a lot of legwork that goes into it. So you will pay a fee. So even if you have this romantic notion of like, I'm going to get in with zero money down, it's like, no, you're not, because you're going to have to at least pay the fee.
Yeah, and and then again, your appraisal is a few $1,000s, your legal fees, there's going to be costs.
Yeah.
Right?
And you typically will pay a broker fee,
Yep.
a lender fee,
Yep.
the lender's lawyers,
The lender's lawyer, yeah.
your lawyer, your appraisal, which would be a few $1,000s.
Environmental.
Enviro if it's over 6 units on average.
Yeah,
Airplane ticket
the
for
amount.
the property manager to fly
Right.
in.
Yeah, your plane ticket for
Per diems, yeah.
It's per diem, so you can eat at the steakhouse every night.
Yeah.
And then so you can drive back his new car. But yeah, in all seriousness, like you'll pay just in fees and everything like that, 3.5% of your purchase price can be
Right.
easily,
Well,
if not
and then-
more, depending
and
on
then don't
obviously-
forget your D transfer, because like that's the same 1.5% of a much bigger number.
Yeah.
Right?
So before this is all just sunken cost, 5% of whatever you're looking at. So if you're looking at $1 million place, $50K that goes towards nothing that you
And
actually physically
And
receive
if you're
or are
doing,
paying down.
if you're doing private financing, then the fees are higher.
And-
you know.
Yeah.
When I was broke, I had rich habits. When I was broke, I had rich habits.